Okay, so maybe I cracked it. I don't know for sure, but it looks like this is going to work. It doesn't fit exactly like the old one, obviously, because it's not quite as flexible, but this is what the finished product looks like. Okay, so I almost forgot to record today's other project. To replace the flimsy Whim Schermer visor with Makralon. So I've already taken the visor off. It's got some very tiny short screws that go into the side of the hood. So I'm hoping that they'll be thick enough, that they'll be long enough to go through this, but if nothing else, I can get me a little mini visor, because this one's a little scratched. Also, this visor is a little bit scratched. I'm hoping that I can make it so I can do without these, if I can put these screws in tight enough and make it so I can do without these big black strips here, because this actually blocks a lot of my view when it's open, and when it's not open, these hang down into the cockpit quite a ways. So I'm going to see what this Makralon will do, thanks to Dan. And what I'm using to cut this is just a pair of sheet metal scissors. It seems to cut really nice. It made a nice smooth cut on the test piece, so I don't think it's going to be a problem to cut this out. One other thing I tried is thermoforming it, because it's a plastic, so I got my heat gun out to see how it kind of holds its shape, and that may help when I'm trying to bend it around the visor. I thermoformed it with the coating, the protective coating on it, and I'll see if I have to do that with or without it, because I'm going to try and take this off and see what happens. Even after thermoforming it, it's optically clear, and the outside protective coating doesn't stick to it after it's thermoformed. You got to warm it up for quite a while, but looks like it might work. Okay, it may take a little bit more experimentation, but this is after thermoforming the mini visor, and of course I haven't taken the covering off, but you can see how it'll velcro on there, and this is a much stiffer substance than the original, so I think this is going to work out good. Maybe I cracked it. I don't know for sure. It looks like this is going to work. It doesn't fit exactly like the old one, obviously, because it's not quite as flexible, but this is what the finished product looks like. And I put it on tight enough to where it goes up, to where it can stay up. I can probably tighten these a little bit more if I need to, and I will cut off the bolts that are on the inside, because they're a little bit long right now, but I can cut those off once I decide that it's going to be the right fit. So I don't know that I'll ever have it up that high, but I'll probably have it up at least that high. If I want it open all the way, I can pop it open like that, and then I can reach up from the inside. So I want to show you how I could reach up from the inside, and I can pull it down with this little handle right here, and that allows me to pull it down snug, because there wasn't any other way to do that. So it's also taken out the big black bars. They don't stick down into the cockpit anymore, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take it out for a short spin and see how it does. I decided not to fill the hole in right here yet until I see how it performs, to see if it's even going to make a difference, to see if I need to do something else with that, or if I need to plug it or whatever. We'll see how it goes. So the new Makralon visor, or mini visor and regular visor, taking out the side post because it's actually a pretty stiff visor. So I expect if it's going to move around a little bit, it might. I may have to tighten up these screws a little bit more. I'm using friction on these to dampen the movement. So I'll have to see if riding, if that makes it, if I put it up just a little bit, if it makes it go up higher or not. The visor, which means I just need to put a little more tension on those screws. But look at that, even hitting the bumps, no flapping whatsoever. Very happy. That makes a huge difference, and it makes this visor, makes this hood worth it. One of the things that you'll notice right off is I no longer have these big bars sticking down into the cockpit. Frees up a lot of the space here, which is one thing I like. The other thing is because those bars had Velcro on them, which obviously isn't clear, when the visor was up, in any given position, the visor would be up, and I would have these big black bars right here. Now they're gone. I can raise and lower the visor, and there's no more cockpit obstruction, and there's no more visual obstruction. So the only thing is now, I need to get out my heat gun and perfect the bends that are in this window and make it nice and round and form it to where it's a little bit better. This plastic seems to thermal form pretty easily with a heat gun, a standard heat gun. So, some things for you guys to try out there. So far, I'm liking it. I don't know how it is on scratch resistance and how it is to clean up. I'm sure somebody will tell me. But so far, I like it. So that actually works out great. It flops down a little bit when the road is really rough, or when it's continuously rough. I'll have to perfect the thermal forming of it to get the curves and stuff just right. But for what I got there now, man, that's awesome. So if you're in the market for upgrading your WIM Schermer hood, I would suggest using Makralon. It's a pretty stiff material. It's easy to work with. It thermal forms easy with the heat gun, and it's pretty lightweight. It will clean up your Schermer hood a lot. It'll take out the blind spots from the Velcro post. It'll also keep the post from hanging down into your cockpit area when you have the visor down. The only thing I need to do now, I think, is adjust the nuts and screws on the side to give it a little bit more tension, so maybe it won't bump down when the road is rough or in the high winds. If you noticed the one part in the high wind, it started coming down a little bit on its own. So I need a little bit more resistance in those washers, but I think it's going to work out good. So I don't even know if I'll mess with it anymore. I think the thermal forming is fine. I may try and work out a little bit on the left side. You can see just a little bit on the left side right here, where it looks like I've cut it unevenly, but actually what it is that's where I bent the plastic, and so I may need to bend the plastic in just a little bit more to soften that curve. And by softening that curve, I think that will make it look more rounded. But it goes up and down just fine. The little handle in the front is just about perfect, so I may go ahead and cover up the hole where I drilled it incorrectly the first time. Other than that, I think it worked great. So hot, humid day. I did get a little bit of sprinkle, but no big deal. That's what the hood is for. So thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those kind of good things. Watch other videos. And until next time, cheers.